There's a good chance your scrap bin is worth more than you think, especially if you're running carbide. In this video, we're going to look at why carbide scrap is important, how it gets reused, and how to start turning that waste into something valuable to your business. Tungsten carbide is one of the hardest and most wear-resistant materials used in manufacturing. It's widely used in cutting tools, drill bits, inserts, wear parts, mining tools, and other high-performance applications because it holds up under heat and abrasion. And that durability, which makes it so effective in production, is why it still has value even after it's worn out. A broken insert, a dull end mill, is no longer waste. It's raw material waiting for a second chance at life. For machine shops, this matters for three reasons. You recoup money, you strengthen the supply chain, and it's surprisingly simple to do. First, there's the financial side. Scrap carbide can often be sold or credited back through recycling programs. So instead of dead tooling sitting in a bin, it becomes a way to recover cost and put money back into the business. Second, there's the supply side. This matters now more than it used to. Tungsten has become a strategically important material, and supply chains are experiencing more pressure than they have in decades. Prices have hit historical highs, and when a raw material behind carbide gets more expensive, every pound of recoverable material becomes more valuable. In a market like this, keeping carbide out of the trash and back into the supply chain is not just good housekeeping, it's good business. This decreases dependence on newly mined tungsten and increases supply consistency. And third, there's the practical side. It's never been easier for a shop to start recycling its tungsten. In just a few easy steps, you can turn waste into a resource. The workflow is straightforward. Instead of mixing carbide with the general scrap, you separate it. Used inserts, round tools, wear parts, anything containing carbide gets collected in its own bin. And from there, you send it to a recycler, or it gets picked up through a recycling program. Once it arrives, the material is sorted by type and processed based on its form. It may be cleaned, refined, or broken down depending on what it came in as. Eventually, it's converted back into usable tungsten carbide powder or other raw material forms suitable for new products. And one detail that makes a difference, the cleaner the material you send in, the higher the grade it can be turned into. And this all sounds great, but the most frequent follow-up question I get is what exactly can be recycled? It's common to think carbide scrap means whole tools, right? Things like inserts, end mills, drills, and other obvious stuff. But that's only part of the picture. A lot of recyclable carbide doesn't look like tooling. It shows up in tool grinding shops as sludge, fine powders, and filters that trap residue. This is where a lot of value gets missed. The smaller it gets, the easier it is to ignore, mix it in with other waste, or wash away without a second thought. But it's still carbide, and it still contains tungsten. A few pounds here and there might not seem significant, but across months of tool changes, wear and tear, that small stuff starts to deliver a big payback. So the question becomes pretty simple. Are you treating carbide like trash or like a recoverable asset? Because shops that build the habit of collecting it, separating it, and sending it back into the system are turning a waste stream into a recurring revenue stream. If your shop uses carbide every day, start by identifying where it's being discarded. Separate it from steel, aluminum, and mixed scrap. Set up a dedicated bin. Talk to recyclers and ask what forms and grades they accept. Get a few quotes, and don't be afraid to negotiate. The big takeaway is simple. Tungsten carbide is too valuable to ignore. For shops that buy carbide tooling, the opportunity to recover some of the value is right there, waiting for you in the shop floor. I'm Brian Falk with Scientific Cutting Tools. For those of you who are already recycling your scrap carbide, What's the biggest benefit your business has experienced? Drop it in the comments below.